Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Quentin Marcellis, all the way in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and welcome back to the Carefree Queer Podcast. It's officially been a whole month since you guys have actually seen the last video and the last podcast with me, Chaz, Unity, and Brandel. So shout out to them. They can't be with us today, but it's gonna be me and Chaz today. We have a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things that we have been up to. But my name is Quentin, as you guys know. I'm a model, actor, music artist from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
All right, and I'm Chaz Warhol, singer, songwriter, photographer, and all-around creative, based in the DMV in Baltimore.
Dope, dope, dope. So let's start with you, Chaz. We kind of talked a little bit about your life offline, but what's some good things going on in your life? Let's talk about your music. Let's talk about, how life is treating you as an artist.
Well, yes, life is treating me, really good as an artist, from an artist standpoint. I got the artscape that I'm going to be walking in, modeling in next weekend. I'm going to be dropping some new music soon, in addition to pushing back the album for next spring. And I'm doing that. I'm doing that deliberately because I want to get some visuals done. But along with that, the music is halfway through. It's almost done. I'm excited for the new music that I'm going to be putting out. Again, I got Artscape coming up. I'm slowly but surely dabbling back into photography. So I'm getting my clientele up with that. I have a client for next Saturday before I walk in Artscape. Artscape is going to be here in Baltimore. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for that. I'm just like artistically speaking, and just as a creative, like things are looking up, and I'm happy in the way that they're, in the direction that it's going. How's everything going with you, Q? What's new?
So I'm about to, one, I dropped a mixtape, as you guys may or may not know, on August the 26th, which was the anniversary of my first mixtape, Days in the Midwest. It's called On a Journey. So I've been
Yeah.
working on promoting my second mixtape, On a Journey, which I'm super excited about. I love the way it turned out. I'm still working on some promotion and photo shoots for that. But everybody that's listening, everybody that's watching, you can check it out on YouTube. You can check it out on SoundCloud. It's coming soon to mixtape websites as well. So I'm excited for everybody who hasn't heard my music to check out my mixtape On a Journey, because like I said, I'm very excited about it. I'm very happy with the way it turned out. I'm actually going to be in a fashion show as well on Sunday, and this is like
Oh,
it's like a vegan fashion. It's like a vegan festival. So
yeah.
I'm super excited about that. And then also, I'm going to be on stage at the Performing Arts Theater in Tulsa in a Broadway musical called Carole King Beautiful. And we
Yeah.
have 8 shows this month. So I'm going to be on stage at the Performing Arts Theater in Tulsa for 8 shows. So I'm super excited about that. So you can get your tickets on the website of the Tulsa Performing Arts Theater if you're in Tulsa and you're listening, or if you're watching. So hope to see you come out. But that's pretty much what I've been working on. And of course, life has its ups and downs. It's Mercury retrograde is ending on the
Yeah.
15th. And I definitely have been learning a lot of lessons with my finances, learning a lot of lessons with my friends, learning a lot of lessons with my job and things like that. And also another cool thing is I just started a new job where I'm going to be teaching music, performing art, and theater to kids in high school and middle school. So I
Yeah.
started that job last week. So, I have some cool things going on in my life. And yeah, so shout out to Brandelsa and shout out to Unity, like I said, because they couldn't make it on this
Shout out to them
podcast,
both.
but
Yeah.
they're doing some cool things as well. So check out the Carefree Queer page, and check out some of the things that we're all up to and some of the things we're doing. But other than that, we're gonna jump right into the topics for today. So the first topic that we're gonna talk about is California lawmakers vote to end travel ban to states with anti-LGBTQ laws. So basically, according to
Mm.
an article that I found on ABC News, it says California may soon lift a ban on a state funded travel to states with anti LGBTQ laws and instead focus on advertising campaigns to bring anti discrimination messages to red states, which I think is a good idea. What do you think?
I think it I think it's a great idea because it's by them pushing that to red states, it's gonna get people to see like, we're not as a threat as, some people may think we are. We're, along with us being human, like, as, as everyone else, we also have, we walk in our vulnerability every day. So we want people to, all we're doing as queer people is trying to get people to look into themselves and look into their heart and, be who they are, you know, outside of the queer community. And that's all we're really trying to do. Not just, it's 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 a good thing that they're doing that.
Yeah, I
Shine
agree.
some even, shine more light. Let's shine more light into these, to these cities and stuff. Let's spread more positive awareness on the community and things like that, and just as a whole.
Yeah, I agree because I feel like, by just simply just banning, you know what I mean? Like the states
Yeah,
that are anti-LGBTQ, I think undoing the ban and like, because banning is one thing, but banning kind of like emphasizes the problem more than the solution, I feel like.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like the fact that they're lifting travel bans on anti-LGBTQ uh, places and states in the United States, it will help to spread a better message. Like, just I don't know, just I feel like it's all about the like the law of attraction, right? I feel like whatever you focus on, it expands. You know what I mean? If you focus on the
right.
negativity in your life, it's gonna grow. If you focus on
If
the
you focus
positivity
on
in
the
your life,
positive,
it's
it's gonna grow.
it's gonna grow. But if you give all your energy and your attention to the negativity and you don't highlight what's going right in your life and what's going good in your life, then you're gonna fall into a hole of despair and depression. That's just how it is. That's kind of how I feel about this LGBTQ ban on certain states, which I didn't even know that you could actually even do that. Like let me go back to that article. It's actually interesting that
Yeah.
end travel ban to states with LGBTQ laws. A travel ban. I don't even know how that even works. How do you
I
ban
never like what like how do you
that?
ban? How do you that don't even
California?
it
It
sounds
sounds
confusing.
California lawmakers vote to end travel ban to states with anti-LGBTQ laws. Yeah, I don't. The ban prevents elected. Oh, there it is. The ban prevents elected officials, state workers, and university scholars from traveling to 26 states using state funds. Got it.
Mm.
So the ban is you won't be able to use state funds to travel to certain places that are anti-LGBTQ. So like I said, in many ways, it sounds like it's a good idea, but in other ways, it emphasizes the problem more than the solution. So the fact that they're lifting that travel ban, they said in the article that basically, they're willing to
So basically
focus.
what this travel ban is, not really just like when because I was reading up on it, within the other topic. This travel ban is basically, our queer counterparts, including ourselves, are able to travel to places where, because they're lifting that, so where we can travel to other places, where where gay people can be comfortable, like we can literally exist amongst our our heterosexual counterparts without any issues,
I
in
wonder if
these
Oklahoma is included on that. I'm
I
curious.
mean, yeah, you shoot, I would look it up.
Well, I'm
That's
looking at
basically
the
what they're
article
saying.
right now. I'm about to see.
Yeah,
Let's see. California lawmakers in the state assembly on Monday passed legislation to end the travel ban. The bill, introduced by state senator leader Tony Atkins, would also establish an outreach and advertising campaign in states on the travel ban list to promote pro LGBTQ messages. So they're going to lift the travel ban to promote LGBTQ messages, which I think is a good idea. Now, it's not
yeah.
telling me what states, like right off bat, that they're lifting the ban on, but I would actually guess that it would be Oklahoma, because Oklahoma is considered to be a red state, and it did mention that the travel ban was on red state. So yeah, I mean, and again, to clarify for the people that are listening, and for the listeners, basically, that the travel ban doesn't mean that you are not allowed to travel to these places. It means that
Yeah.
they're not gonna allow you to do it on state funds. So meaning like they're not gonna fund the state isn't gonna fund certain things relating to these places based on their views of the LGBTQ community. Like I said, which
Community, yeah.
on one level, you know what I mean? Like on one level, it sounds good. Like it sounds like, oh, these people are, protecting the LGBTQ community. It sounds like California is very progressive. California has always been progressive when it comes to racism, when it comes to homophobia. Like California has always been like the most
They
accepting
always,
place,
yeah,
it seems,
yeah.
you know. But at the same time, to just completely just ban it but not address the problem. I like how they're now unbanning this and they're addressing the problem, because that's the only way that a solution can be made. You know what I mean? If you just tell
Mm-hmm.
somebody, go stand in a corner and never look at me again, or never like, if you, like, for instance, when you're a kid and your parents discipline you, and I remember
Right.
sometimes when I got disciplined when I was a kid, some teachers or instructors or somebody would like stand in that corner over there for 10 minutes, and you go
Mm-hmm.
over there and stand in the corner for 10 minutes, but like, what is that really doing? If we're not talking about what the problem is or why I'm standing in
Right.
this corner, like, what's the point of
What
me
is the
wasting my
point?
time staring at a wall for
No.
10 minutes? So I like
Exactly.
how that's how I see it. You know what I mean? So I like how they're like,
It's like if we're gonna get
based
down to the yeah, if we're gonna get down to the if we're gonna get down to the issue, let's start from the bottom and work our way up. Well, let's start from the
right.
top and work our way to the bottom.
Yeah, I like how they're starting to realize that just banning places with state funds isn't going to affect anything. So I like that.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
the next topic on the agenda is, let's talk about sexual health. Let's talk about mental health in the LGBTQ community, specifically sexual health. So when you think of sexual
Hmm.
health in the LGBTQ community, what do you think?
When I think about sexual health, I think about going to get tested, making sure our not only just through making sure that we are staying up to date with getting just staying up to date with how our body works, how we move with our bodies, and how we're interacting with other people with our bodies, going to the doctors for our doctors or clinics for monthly checkups, things like that. Just and this is just not it leans more to health, period. Sexual health is one thing, but when we're going to the doctor and really doing just normal checkups and just seeing, like, just checking up on ourselves and seeing how our body is moving at this point in our lives, it's very important. And for the sexual aspect of it, it's also important because as men, especially gay men, most of us still don't even go to the doctors and check up on ourselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I feel like sexual health in the LGBTQ community doesn't get talked about enough. And I honestly feel like it's because, and I was actually having this thought today, but
Nice.
I honestly feel like a lot of the reason why this is the thought. It's kind of on subject but off subject. But I kind of think the reason why some men are identify with being bisexual is because they're not getting their sexual needs met by the woman that they're with or women. That's number one. Um,
That could
would
be
you
the
agree with
case.
that?
I would agree. Yeah.
Because it's like, because men, I mean, I think men and women are both sexual, but when it comes to men specifically, I don't know if there's a statistic out there that men's bodies are more, sexual, but I think that may be the truth. I don't know how accurate that is, but I feel like that's another thing, is that the reason that, well, men are very sexually active and also very seems like have more sexual energy than women. That's like the statistic or the stereotype, right? And with
Yeah.
that being said, you feel me? Like, and with that being said, in the LGBTQ community amongst men, I feel like that's another reason why sexual health doesn't get talked about enough. Because I feel like in the gay community, because we now have like this sexual liberation where now that you identify with whatever your sexuality is, a lot of people
Hmm.
they use that as a way to find their freedom and express their freedom sexually that they may have not had before they came out.
Before
And
they
they
came out.
and then, you feel me? And then with that being said, a lot of people they become irresponsible, or they start to not take their sexual health seriously because they do feel so liberated and that they
Right.
can fucking do whatever they want to do with anybody else, that they forget that, yeah, just because you're gay doesn't mean you don't have, that the community doesn't have standards, that the community doesn't have
Right.
have, what's the word I'm looking for? Have boundaries. You know what I mean? Like, well,
Boundaries,
I
exactly.
can only speak for myself, but it doesn't matter if you're gay or straight. I feel like everybody should have boundaries when it comes to their sexual health, no matter how many partners you have, no matter how,
Hmm.
if you're in a monogamous or open relationship. Like,
You
I
should
don't think
still
there's
have
anything,
boundaries.
you still have boundaries. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong
Yeah,
with
you
enjoying
should.
sex. You feel me? But I think at the same time, you can still enjoy sex, but still have boundaries and still care about your sexual health. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of
Exactly.
gay people don't.
A lot of people don't have a lot of gay people don't have boundaries because they just feel like, okay, this is me, this is who I am, take me who I am. No, just because you are who you are doesn't mean I'm just gonna just jump your bones right off the gate. I gotta, you need to be able to have that same respect for yourself to be like, nah, you know, just because I know my body doesn't mean I'm just gonna just give it out to people. And just because you may, be attracted to me in this way, it doesn't mean doesn't mean you should give yourself to me and things like that. So it's more so like, and it's more so in the sense where you got to be careful out here. You have to
Mm-hmm.
be careful. You really have to be careful. Even it comes down to kissing. You can even catch something just from kissing somebody.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if and honestly, this is another thought that I had today because I made a post today about how I am. Well, not today. It was like yesterday. I made a post on Facebook about how it's hard to date and be a Black queer man in Tulsa. Right? I was like, it's hard,
Mhm.
dating with standards and being a Black queer man in Tulsa. And I was like, y'all pray for me that I find love in my 30s. And so basically, with me saying that, I had a thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I was like, number one, I said, I was just having this conversation with myself. I was like, really, it's about you. It's about me. It's about you.
Yeah, it
And,
is.
it's like a lot of times when people are desperate to be in a relationship, so they're desperate to be with somebody, regardless of
Yeah.
the sex is a big part of that because
Yes, it is. Sex
a
is a
lot of
huge
times,
part of it.
and a lot of times people like you or me or whoever, I can't speak for everybody, I can only speak for myself, but I know a lot of times when I desire a relationship, sometimes it's really because I'm desiring intimacy or sexual intimacy with somebody, right?
Yeah.
But also too, I know that I do desire to be outside of the sex, I do desire to be with somebody that I consider to be my friend, somebody that I have a
Yes.
close bond and relationship with, mind, body, and spirit, somebody who's intelligent because I'm a sapiosexual, so I need somebody that can. I realize that I'm not attracted to people that can't think deep, that lack the capacity to think deeper than me, or cannot
Hmm.
think as deep as I think. Like, and because some people they may be good at this, but they're lacking in that. So I realized that for me, like, until I meet whoever that is, or who until I'm in a relationship with somebody, like, I'm really seeking me. I'm really seeking Quentin because your relationship with yourself, I promise you, is always going to determine the type of relationship you have with everybody else. That's just how it is. You know what I mean? Like, because when you get with somebody else, after all that bomb sex is had, I mean, you gotta deal with the person that you're having sex with outside of that bedroom. Do you like this person?
Outside.
Can y'all talk? Can y'all communicate?
Hmm.
Outside of the sexual intimacy, like, what else do y'all have in common? Because after a while, if all you have in common with somebody is just sex, it is
It's
gonna
just
show.
sex. It definitely is gonna show, and you're not really gonna have. It's like the relationship that you think you have is not. It's gonna be a false one. It's gonna be falsified.
Right,
So
right,
what do you really have? What do you really have? A full like a full healthy bond, or is it just lust?
right, exactly. So I say all that to say that you know you got to take care of yourself because that's how you attract the right partner for you. That's how you know if somebody is right for you because you have to
Yes.
understand yourself more than somebody else can understand you. And
Yes.
that's just
Mm-hmm.
how it always is going to be. Things become complicated because offline you were talking to me about your exes and things like that, and just different things that you're going through and experiencing with your exes coming back, and the Mercury retrograde has been bringing a lot of stuff kind of back to like our life. That's what the Mercury retrograde is all about. Kind of like bringing back
Yeah.
old karma, bringing back old situations and problems that you may have not addressed or things that you're still healing from. You know what I mean? And sometimes people
Yeah.
come back and they trigger the things that you're still working on, the things you're still healing from. So I say all that to
Yeah.
say that, if you have an ex coming back at this time of your life, and this goes for everybody else who's listening too, and this is just my astrology side note. This is like my astrology side of me coming out. But I was gonna say, if there's somebody in your life right now during this Mercury retrograde season that's coming back, and they were in the past, or if there's things that are resurfacing from the past, sometimes the universe puts things back in your circle just to see if you've grown, just to see if you've learned the lesson, just to see if you have passed that test with that person, with that job, with that situation, with that experience. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like for me, you can only know for sure if you're making the right decision by going back into a relationship with somebody, unless you have that bond with yourself and not with that person. Like it has to be that
Not
bond
with
with you to understand
right.
whether or not this is actually good for you or healthy for you, or if this is something that's truly in line in alignment with your highest good. So
Yeah.
this is something that I had on my mind. But sexual health and mental health, like it starts with you. You know what I mean? I was talking to
It
my
definitely does.
godfather. You feel me? Like I talk to
Mm-hmm.
my godfather all the time about this, David, and we were just talking about how, he actually was talking about this on the podcast when he came on, but he was saying how in order to know how to have sex with somebody else or what you like sexually, you have to first understand what you like.
You have to
You know
understand
what I
what
mean? You
you
got to
like.
understand your own body. You got to understand how you respond to things and stuff like that. So, I'm in that. I feel like I'm in that phase of my life as a Black gay man with my sexual and my mental health, where I'm learning about me. Like I'm enjoying my alone time. I'm still craving to be with somebody, but I'm trying to learn how to crave me more than I crave another person. Like craving like understanding who I am, craving understand what my
Exactly.
needs are, craving understanding what I
Exactly.
like in the bedroom. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times when you're with somebody, it gets clouded. Like your perception of yourself can get real clouded when you're trying to
Yes, it
understand
can.
somebody else.
Yes, it can.
So I feel empowered, you
Yes.
know what I mean, being single right now. But at the same time, I want to make sure my own sexual and mental health is good before somebody else comes to the picture.
Exactly. And that's why I'm not, that's exactly why even for me, outside of this, I want to make sure that I'm just as leveled here. I'm going to say I'm just as leveled here as I am here and here. I want to be leveled here just as well as I'm leveled right here. Right here, boom. Because if not, nah, I
Yeah,
will stay single until I am healed here.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
I will
and
stay
you know
single.
it.
That's for real.
And then sometimes people, sometimes exes come back in your life because, or I can't speak for everybody because I don't think everybody has bad intentions or are out to get you. But I will say that as a human being, sometimes you either try to make your way back into somebody's life that's in the past, or they try to make their way back to you
It's
because they're
you.
lonely,
Mm-hmm.
because you desire
Because they're
companionship,
lonely. Mm-hmm.
or sexual intimacy, or they miss the sex that y'all had. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
reasons. You know what I mean? And so you got to decide whether or not that those reasons are right for you. You know what I mean? But even with sexual health, whenever you're having sex with a partner, you can't always depend or trust on them to put a condom on. That's exactly why you got to put your sexual health first before you put somebody else's sexual health first. Because
Exactly.
you can't even always trust somebody that you're having sex with, because you can't trust that they're always going to remember to put the condom on, or going to always remember to take their medication, or always going to remember certain
Exactly.
things. You know what I mean? Like, because I remember in my
Exactly.
past, I've had to remind people, like, hey, I need you to put that condom on, or hey, if you're HIV positive, I need to see your stats. You know what I mean?
I
Like
need to see your
that's
stats
for
before we go further.
you. Feel me? Like that's for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's you taking care of your sexual health. You know what I mean? So
I
that's
want to
just a
know. I
message
want
I
to
want
know
to throw
this.
out there.
Yeah, no doubt. I definitely feel it. I want to know that you are, fully prepped and medicated, so that way we can continue on, with the sexual pleasure, whatever. And if you're not taking care of yourself, then we can't go further.
And actually, this topic kind of, it opens up a new realm of things, like another like realm in this conversation. And I was gonna say that I fell in love with somebody about 2 years ago who was HIV positive.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you this person treated me right, we had good sex. He held my hand in public. He held my hand in the car. He would kiss my hand. That's like my favorite thing. I like when people kiss, when guys kiss my hand. It makes me feel like I'm a
Oh,
prince.
okay.
But he did all those things. He did all these things to make me feel special. He held my hand in the car while he was driving the steering wheel. Like, he made me feel real special. But yet the relationship did not work out because I was afraid of his status. I was afraid of getting
Mm.
HIV. Without like verbally telling him that, it showed sometimes in my actions, it showed sometimes in my behavior. And this person, I felt like everything else was so perfect. We cooked dinner together. We would, do so many cool things that I've always wanted to do with a partner. You know what I mean? With another man. Like, we did all these things that I've always dreamed to do with another man. But yet, you know, it was in the back of my head, I was thinking, this person's HIV positive. I don't want to
Yeah.
get it. Are they taking their medication? Like, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, I don't want to get HIV. And even though I know that you can't get HIV from kissing, and I know you can't get HIV if there's no bodily fluids that are entering your body, I still was paranoid. And to this day, and this message is for everybody that's listening. To this day, I look back and I feel like that I may have made the wrong decision as far as ending my relationship with this person. Like it wasn't like it was kind of a mutual thing because I think he sensed that I wasn't 100% confident being with him and he's HIV positive. And that wasn't fair to him because there's nothing wrong with him. And I don't think that now I hold a different view of men, specifically black gay men. I hold a completely different view of gay men that have HIV, right? So I remember
Yeah.
talking to my friends one time and I was like, I could never be with somebody that's HIV positive. But you just never know.
You just never know.
And honestly, I realized too, Chad, and this is a huge enlightenment moment for me. I realized too that if I'm being that picky about the person that I'm falling in love with or the person I'm in a relationship with, then that's not then it's really not love to begin with.
That's
You know
true.
what I mean? So anyway, I just want to send that message out there that anybody that is HIV positive or anybody that's dealing with those topics, like, definitely take care of yourself, but also know that you're worthy, know your worth, know your value. You are still valuable as a person, regardless of what you have or don't have. And now I feel like I can move forward and I can date more confidently and not judge somebody for something like that. You know what I mean? Because you never know who you're going to fall in love with. And if you are going to judge somebody to a certain extent like that, you got to expect them to
Hmm.
judge you to the same extent.
You bet. Right. You might as well be able to dish up, dish out or take back what you dish out.
Yeah. So it's almost like, how picky are you going to be about who you choose to be with? What are you going to nitpick about? Because love is unconditional.
Yes.
If you love somebody and you want to be with somebody, a lot of the things that we worry about and stress about, or we nitpick about a person,
It's
we have to
conditional.
expect it's conditional, and we have to
Hmm.
expect them to hold us to the same standards that we hold them. If we truly want to find love, like, you got to learn how to be open minded.
You got to learn how to be an
That's
open book. You got to learn how to be able to, you got to be able to be be attentive. Um, well, be attentive, show face, have the same support that the other person is giving you when you are in union with someone. When it comes to a relationship, these are two people, building into being one. You know, a lot of people don't look at, relationships, like that in a sense. I mean, I do. And, when I'm dealing with people, I kind of had this thing where it's as though like we're already married, we're playing catch up, if you get what I
mhm.
mean.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just like, be true to yourself. when it comes to that. Be true to your body.
Mm-hmm.
Be
Yeah.
true, like be true with that.
Yeah.
So that way the other person knows how to move with you carefully, respectfully, patiently. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
you gotta be.
Exactly.
You have like yeah, both parties, as individuals and as a union have to, yeah, it really does matter.
100%.
Sexual health matters. Sexual health definitely matters.
100%. All right, so the next topic is about Hong Kong's top court rules in favor of legally recognizing same-sex couples, which I think is like a
That's
real major.
awesome.
It's a major step for a very, it seems very like traditional place like Hong Kong. So let's read it real quick. Read it quickly. Hong Kong's top. Because this is basically shout out to the Gay Times, which is a really dope. If you're a gay person and you want to stay up to date on news, shout out to the Gay
Yes.
Times. It's a really good website that always posts current events going on in the LGBTQ community. One of those current events is that on September 5th, Hong Kong's top court rules in favor of legally recognizing same-sex couples. It says Hong Kong's top court has ruled in favor of giving same-sex couples legal recognition through though stop short of demanding full marriage equality. The Court of Final Appeal on Tuesday, September 4th, said the government was violating the city's Bill of Rights by not providing an alternative framework for the legal recognition of same-sex partnerships. 5 judges handed down the decision after years of legal battles challenging the government's refusal to allow same-sex marriages or civil unions. I think that is such a major step. And honestly, it shows you where we are as human beings. When other
Yeah.
countries that are like super religious or super traditional start to recognize same-sex marriage, I honestly feel like it means that human beings, the consciousness level of human beings is starting to change. Like
It's
we're
going
starting to
high. It's
go
like
higher.
it's getting higher. Like
Yeah,
a lot of people are vibrating higher. And
yeah,
now that people are like overturning this and starting to recognize same-sex couples as actual people, that means which means how black people were looked at as second-class citizens. The queer community doesn't have to see ourselves as second-class citizens anymore.
yeah,
We're slowly
yeah.
but surely becoming, a part of, civil rights. Like we actually are slowly but surely saying, okay, we actually do have rights out here. We're not just being told that we have rights, and they were just, shelving our rights for us. So we
And I've
actually have it
always
now.
and I've always felt, and I've said this before, and I think I probably said this on a previous podcast, but I honestly feel like we are living in like the civil rights era for the LGBTQ community right now, and
Yeah,
it
we are.
is, and it's a beautiful thing to see. Like
Not
it's a
only,
beautiful thing
not
that I
only, not only for queer people, but we're living in the civil rights era for queer people and women.
Mhm. Well, it's funny that you say
This,
and women because I honestly
yes,
feel like what that really means in a huge, huge way is that female energy is on a higher rise than it has ever been, basically. Feminine
hmm
energy, you know what I mean? Because when you think of queerness, when I think of queerness, because queerness also means masculine energy as well. Because for the
yeah,
women who are queer, they're in tune with their masculine energy. For the men who are queer, we're in tune with
they're
our
in tune
feminine
with their
energy
feminine energy. Yeah,
because we're attracted to the same sex. So
hmm
what that really means is that feminine energy is on the rise more than it ever has been. You know what I mean? Like feminine
yeah,
energy is starting to become a boss. Feminine energy is starting to become a leader. Feminine energy is starting to be recognized in masculine places and spaces.
yeah,
Um, you know what I mean? And that's big. That's big that because for a long time, masculine energy was always, when I say masculine energy, I use that very loosely because I'm talking about women too when I say masculine energy. For a long
yeah,
time, masculine energy was the most dominant force on this planet, and
yeah.
feminine energy was the force that was on the back burner.
This is
You
a
know what I
back burner
mean?
and look down upon. Yeah,
looked down upon and only used for certain things like raising kids, having kids, taking care of the house, all the
Mm-hmm.
secondary things. It was looked at very secondary. But feminine energy has become more powerful. Fashion has become more powerful.
Powerful
Uh,
now. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Art has become more powerful
More
now.
powerful.
Music
And the
has
people
become
who
more
are
powerful
more,
now.
yeah, and the people who are more, who are more visually and artistic and stuff like that, who are creatively inclined, are seen as leaders. The people who are, what I'm saying, the people who are in the arts are seen as leaders. The people who are looked in, um, let's see, um, let's say, I guess like the arts and the beauty industry and all that, we're looked at as leaders now. The more I guess the bookworms are looked at as leaders now. It wasn't. It's we're moving into a system where it goes back to feminism. It all goes back to feminism. And I thought about the video of Sister Adichie. She had spoke about, we should all be feminists. I consider myself a male feminist. And to be a feminist is to be someone who believes in the social, political, and economic equalities amongst the sexes. Anything that women can do, men can do, and anything men can do, women can do. You know, everything is equally yoked, from the social aspects, the political aspect, to the economical aspects amongst everyone. So that's what
Yeah,
the world is. That's what the world is slowly but surely moving into now.
I agree. And I think that it's definitely a time to be alive and be a Black queer person specifically. And one thing that I was going to also add into our topics today is that I just remembered, which is a really dope topic, is that Lil Nas X is putting out a documentary. I don't know. I think he hasn't put it
Yeah,
out yet. There's a couple of things going on
he
with Lil
has.
Nas X.
He's
There's
been
like
promoting it. Yeah.
there's a couple of things going on. One thing that's going on with Lil Nas X is putting out a documentary about his life and being a Black queer person. The second thing that's going on with Lil Nas X is that at this red carpet event that he was going to like preview this documentary, there was a bomb threat against him. The third thing about Lil Nas X is interesting is that in this documentary, his brother said that he gives his brother Lil Nas X credit for helping him come out as bisexual. So
Wow. Talk
Lil
about.
Nas X's brother, his half, I want to say it's either his little brother or his half brother. I'm not really sure which one, but his brother said that he is bisexual, and he said his brother Lil Nas X helped him to come out, which I think is dope. Um,
I think it's actually beautiful because you
yeah,
know it definitely shows that he was willing to listen to Lil Nas X. He was allowing Lil Nas to like help him and things like that. This is
mhm,
something he probably wanted to do himself. When a person says something like that, that means they were allowing themselves to surrender and just really give in to all things positive that can happen when he lives in his truth and when he really can be himself. So shout outs
yeah,
to him and shout outs to Lil Nas X for this documentary and helping his brother, half brother, you know, come
yeah,
out and be himself.
yeah. Yeah, shout out to that. And honestly, when I heard that Lil Nas X was making a documentary about being Black and queer, in my head, I was like, man, I wish I would have did that first. So I'm like, I have a lot of work to do because in my lifetime as an artist, I want to influence the Black queer community, and maybe I already am,
Me
and I'm not. I
too.
don't even realize that. You know what I mean?
You already
But I
get
want to.
you already are. You already are.
But I want to, I want to do it on a bigger platform like Lil Nas X. So shout out to
Yeah.
Lil Nas X for what he's doing and all the doors that he's opening for Black queer people and the Black queer
Yes, he
community.
is.
Because I
Me,
I honestly feel like what he's doing is so important, and the fact that he had a bomb threat at his premiere, of this documentary, it speaks to why what he's doing is important. Because if somebody has the audacity to threaten you with a bomb for simply
right.
existing and being yourself, then
That means you're
then
doing
that means
something
we need to
right.
that means you're doing something right. And so shout out to Lil Nas X because I think that's really dope. But yeah,
I
so
think it's
we're
dope
talking
too.
about, you feel me, like,
I
so
think it's dope
so
too.
far we've been talking about mental health, sexual health in the LGBT community. Lil Nas X and his brother
Lil
coming
Nas
out,
X.
and
Yeah.
Lil Nas X premiering this documentary, which is going to be really dope. It kind of reminds me of things Beyonce does, because Beyonce has put out, as we know, so many documentaries. And shout out to Beyonce, because this on this I was about to say on a journey tour.
You about to say on the
This
journey tour. You better speak it
and
into
speaking of that,
existence.
I'm actually working on a journey tour right now, which is funny that I mentioned that. But we'll talk about that a little bit later in the podcast. But shout
Yeah.
out to Beyonce for this Renaissance tour, because she's been killing it. And I've been seeing a lot of pictures and videos. And I've heard a rumor, y'all, that Beyonce is going to be releasing the visuals for the Renaissance album very soon, and she's shopping it to networks.
If she put that on Netflix,
I heard she's shopping it to networks right now. And
oh, she put the,
here's another rumor, y'all, because they like tea. We also drink a lot of tea on the Carefree Queer
we all,
podcast.
we love
And
that.
we sip a lot of tea, right? So this is the tea. The tea is that I've read that people that have already saw the documentary, not the documentary, the visual that Beyonce's about to put out, they've said that it's better than anything she's done, which is wild, because she's done a lot of stuff.
She's done a lot. Like Beyonce has outdone herself so many times. What is it that she hasn't done at this point? Man,
Yeah.
I already know we're gonna get more than exceptional visuals. We're gonna get breath groundbreaking,
Well,
breath stopping,
this is what I
show
kind of feel
stopping
like.
visuals. I just know
This is what I kind of feel like. Black is King was all about celebrating melanin, and I feel like
melanin and blackness and
melanin and blackness, and I feel like
mhm.
Renaissance is celebrating the queer community.
Yes, the queer community as a whole, but the black queer community as a whole.
Definitely the black queer community,
Like
but also just queerness. And so I'm curious to
just
see what she's
queerness
gonna
people,
do.
yeah.
So I'm
But that's
curious to see what I'm very curious to see what this is gonna be like.
because those thumbnails, and when she keeps
Yeah,
like teasing the thumbnails of like the
yeah,
the
the
gif of like
video.
all the different, yeah, it's like when I seen
Yeah,
if you look at the I'm That Girl teaser video, like she shows like she has like the quick gif of like all the visuals combined of like pretty much every song that she's gonna do on this record, because I just have a feeling this is like the Renaissance album is gonna be a short film.
yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
Beyonce
short film.
definitely Beyonce definitely makes me want to give my all, give my best in so many
Yes.
ways, and it's not easy. It's not easy, because every day you wake
It's
up, it's like
like
it's a new journey. You know what I mean? With
she's
yourself,
yeah,
and a new journey with other people. But she
yes,
definitely makes me want to give my best every day.
and same here for this next, same here for our dealer, because I definitely want to put a picture. I definitely want to do a visual book for this album, because just like I made a short film for the Ugly album, which you can still watch on YouTube as well, called Ugly, the short film under Chaz Warhol. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely take a listen and take a look at it. Again, if everyone else wants to learn about Quentin's music, definitely look him up. Quentin Marcellis, On the Journey. The mixtape is out on SoundCloud, YouTube, and
Coming
and
soon to some other
pre
platforms. Yeah,
coming soon on other platforms. By the way, I
yeah.
listened to the mixtape and I am pleasantly surprised.
You like it?
I do love it. I Mind you, I said
Awesome.
love it.
I'm happy that
Mind
you
you,
love it. I mean, that it feels good to
because
hear another artist
I'm
give
not
you
even gonna
some
I'm not even
feedback.
going I'm not even going to tell you what songs I like, but
Why not?
I'm because I want to continue listening to it, because I want to really get in. I really want to indulge in the feels. I
Yeah.
want to indulge in the instruments. I want to indulge into the. I love your voice,
Hmm.
and it's not. You're not. It's not. It's like like my sound. It's not preachy, but it's not dull. You get what I'm saying? It's not. You can. You definitely, the message that you're giving is pushing people to channel their channel themselves in a way where they can understand versus understanding. And that's what I do with my music too. You're really pushing people to really like just okay, like live in their truth and things like that, and embrace their embrace their uniqueness, embrace their if they're queer, embrace their queerness, just embrace the free spirit that's within, and and compel people to get into their psyche so that way others can be compelled to do the same. That's what we want. We want high vibrations out here, but under the same breath, we want people to be meaningful. We want people to be honest at the same time. So it's not it's no point of pushing positivity if you can't be honest about it. You can't be honest about the negative, negative
Here's the
spirits, the
biggest
negative
thing.
habits in your life.
Here's the biggest secret about being an artist. You can't be a true artist if you're faking it. You can't be a true artist if you pretend to be something you're not. You can't be a true artist if
Exactly.
you're not being honest with yourself and honest with your music.
Hmm.
Because at that point, what are you truly doing and why are you doing it?
Why are you doing it? If it's not for if it's not
If it's
to
not
if
honest or real, that's what art is.
if
It's honest and
right
it's real.
if it's not to push authenticity, then what are you doing it for? What are you creating for if you're not being honest with yourself? So put
Yeah,
so everyone around you can be honest with themselves about their stories on their journeys.
right.
That's why this mixtape is called On the Journey. You're on the journey of self-discovery. You're on the journey of self-acceptance. You're on a journey you know um of peace. You're on a journey of happiness. You're on a journey of
Healing.
understanding. You're on a journey of healing. You're on a journey of, and being more self-sustainable, being more self-sustaining. You're on a journey of, loving yourself and pouring back into other people. This is a journey overall. This is a journey of all things, because the older we get, we're never going to stay the same. The older we get, the more we learn new things about ourselves. So we're always going to be learning new things. We're always going to be reworking things about ourselves, and we're always going to be adding on and progressing, if not learning new things.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why I like this mixtape On the Journey, because it's not just talking about one thing; it's multiple things.
And that's why, you know, I like the mixtape too because and that's why I like who I am as an artist and what I sing about and what I talk about because I do feel like I don't see anybody in my lane, and that's a good feeling because it doesn't mean that I'm being kind of like what's the word like I'm being arrogant. It's more so saying that I feel like I'm truly making music from a place of authenticity, where it's just truly me and
Yeah.
what I desire to talk about, what I desire to sing about, and what I desire to do. And so the fact that it's being received well by you and other people, like it means a lot to me because that means that I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do and making music the way I want to make it, and it's fulfilling its purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But thank you for that. Thank you for enjoying the mixtape, the love means a lot, especially from another artist.
No
And like I
doubt.
said,
No
and
doubt.
like I tell Chaz all the time, you know what I mean? Like you can't make music from a place that's not authentic. Like
You can't.
if you're making music just for the radio, if you're making music because you're trying to impress somebody, if you're making music for all the wrong reasons, like at some point you're gonna burn out and you're gonna get tired of doing it because making music is
Yes.
hard. There is
Yes, it
work that
is.
goes into it. Putting a music video together, putting visuals together, like it is a lot of labor. It is a lot of creative labor. And if you're only doing it from a place of that's not authentic, then you're gonna be burnt out real fast. So
That's he's
you got
definitely
it.
saying some good shit,
That's
guys.
the you feel me? Like that's what being an
Yeah.
artist is about. That's why I think there's a difference between a singer and an artist. There's two different
Hmm.
things. A singer is somebody that has a voice, but at the same time, it's the more focus on the voice. It's like, oh, you got a nice voice. You're a
Exactly.
great singer. But an artist, somebody that can write, somebody that
That
maybe can
can write.
produce,
Dude.
somebody that
Hmm.
has an ear for music, has an ear for has an eye for fashion, can put their outfits together for their music video, can
Hmm.
design their cover of their mixtape album or EP. I mean, an artist is somebody that can do more than just provide the vocals. You know what I
Yes.
mean? that's what an artist truly is, and that's what I desire to be in my fullness as an artist, and that's who I am. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's
Same
what I
here.
want to say about that. You feel me?
Same here. And I feel you. When
Yeah,
you have the vision, when you have the when you have the vision, when you have the vision, when you have the
yeah.
penmanship, and you've got the and you got the
The
vibe for it. Like
voice,
I'm the voice, the vibe, the penmanship, the vision,
the
those four
ideas,
things,
the
the
concepts, the
ideas.
themes,
Yes. That's why
the
I'm
evolution, the
that's
eras.
yeah, like I'm blessed and I'm grateful to be, to be able to say, I'm a not only am I a creative, but within that I'm a singer songwriter.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
I'm also a photographer. I'm also a visual artist. I also can draw. I also can paint. I'm a creative. I'm blessed. I'm grateful I can say these things while still focusing on what my passion is, the music.
right, right.
And even with you, even with you starting Carefree Queer, this this foundation nonprofit, and you're elevating. You're elevating as you're learning. So bringing me along into, so I can learn a thing or two about, uh, operating a foundation, operating a nonprofit. This
Well,
is new to me
we're
as much
both
as
we're both equally learning about each other, learning from each other, and that's what it's
yeah,
about. Because there are a lot of great things that you've done. Like you have, like I tell you this all the time, but you have more music videos out than me. You have more projects out than me. So there's a lot of things that we can learn from each other. So I equally learn and appreciate our bond and our connection like you do. So shout out to you as well for all the cool things that you have out and all the cool things you're doing as well, and just keep going and don't let don't let
yeah.
the bastards keep you down, like Rihanna said in her song
Don't let the
Cheers.
bastards keep you down. Because there's a party at the
You feel
bar
me? And then the
for them
next,
people.
because there's a party at the
There's
bar, right?
a party at
Shit,
the bar for
shit.
them.
Yep. And the last thing we were going to talk about on this episode of the seventh Carefree Queer podcast, like I said, let me tell you guys this. It has been, and I was talking with some things with Chaz offline about stuff. We always talk offline about stuff, about different things, but it has definitely, Carefree Queer has definitely been a motherfucking journey. And I want to say it just as raw like that. It's been a journey. And I mean, even just the consistency to put out the podcast. You know what I mean? I'm learning things about myself.
Hmm.
I'm learning things about work ethic. I'm learning things about schedules. I'm learning things about just being consistent with myself, being consistent with my creativity, being consistent with my ideas, with my vision for Carefree Queer. Because I don't do Carefree Queer because I'm trying to impress somebody, because it's not truly who I am. I do it because it truly is who I am, and I truly do have a passion for the LGBTQ community. I do feel like that's one of the things that God put on my heart in this life is to serve the LGBTQ community and the Black community. So that's actually something I feel like in my purpose is serving my community. So Carefree Queer doesn't feel laborious to me. That's like, I got to record another podcast, or I got to
Yeah,
post something else on this page. Like I literally love to
right.
do it because I genuinely feel like I feel in alignment with my purpose, like 100%. Like my goal with Carefree Queer is to serve the LGBTQ community and to serve our needs and for us to have a safe space. Also, my goal with Carefree Queer is for people to see queer people in a positive image and a light, for people to see
Yes.
healthy queer friendships, healthy queer relationships, healthy queer
Relationships. Ma-
conversations,
Yes, conversations.
community, you know,
Yes.
representation. You know what I mean? Like that's what
Something
Carefree
that
Queer
can
is about.
inspire the new generation to, yeah, something
Yeah,
that can inspire the new generation to push. Like, we need more queer, we need more powerful queer leaders. We need more powerful queer love. We need more queer, we need more allies in our own community.
yeah. And
We
Carefree Queer
do.
has allowed me to meet so many different people already. Like, I mean, speaking of allies, shout out to my friend Savvy from the Underground Collective. I mean, he's a really dope person who is heterosexual, but Like, I mean, I talk to him almost every day, and we're not related. We haven't known each other that long, but he feels like he's a brother. He's heterosexual, but he supports everything that I do. He's like, Carefree Queer Fest, what? Let me know, bro, because I'm gonna help you promote it. Like, he shows me that he's an ally. He's not just saying, yeah, I'm an ally, but no, he's actually showing me that he's an ally by the fact that he shows me love and support all the time. So I'm blessed to say that Carefree Queer has allowed me to connect with some amazing people and allow me to help to build and create a community here in Tulsa. And everything in my past, I don't even like regret anything. I don't regret anything that I left behind or any
Yeah,
situations I left behind, because I honestly feel like when the universe moves something out of your way, it's because the
yeah,
universe has something greater for you on the horizon. So that's the
that's
message
what
for
they do.
everybody. When something is moved out of your way, or when you feel like you're no longer being respected, or when you feel like you're no longer being valued, leave.
Mm-hmm. Leave,
Leave.
leave. Whenever, right?
So
Whether you're unappreciated, undervalued, leave.
yeah, and I did that, and now I see what the results of that is, and everything that I've done and accomplished with Carefree Queer is the result. And the last thing I want to say is that we have the Carefree Queer Fest coming up in October for Halloween. We're actually working on that right now, so I'm really excited about that. Bringing the queer people together in the community, queer artists, and something me and Chaz have been kind of talking about. That for people that are listening, I want you to be a part of this too. If you are listening and you're an artist and you're a creative, specifically a music artist. If you're a music artist and you are trying to figure out where to start, you're trying to figure out, who to talk to and ask for advice and who to connect with, and you don't feel like you have that because you maybe don't have a manager and you're probably not signed to a label, we want to start a support group, a monthly support group where we're going to have Zoom meetings with other artists and just talk about some things that's happening not only as queer artists, but as artists in general. Like, how can we support one another as artists when we're not signed to a label? How can we support artists in general, other artists in general, when we're independent artists and we're indie artists and we are learning everything by ourselves and doing everything by ourselves? This
Right.
support group that we're putting together is going to really help to make it easier as an independent artist. You know what I mean? And understand the ins and outs of copywriting your music, the ins and outs of distributing your music, the
Yes.
ins and outs of all the things that are a little bit confusing in this industry if you're an independent artist. So that's something I actually am passionate about, is connecting with other queer independent artists and figuring out ways that
Yes.
we can grow and we can thrive and we can create a sense of community and educate each other on this industry. So that's something I want
Yeah.
to throw out there. And I've been talking with Chaz about. And at some point before the year ends, we're going to have our first artist session, which I don't know what we're going to call it yet, but that's
Right.
something I want to throw out there for the people that faithfully listen to this podcast. If you're a music artist, look out for that, because that's coming soon with Carefree Queer. So with that being said, we've reached the end of episode 7 of the Carefree Queer podcast. And this actually was a very smooth, dope, very very just a very smooth and a very dope episode. Even though we don't have Brandelsa and Unity on this episode, like I said, shout out to them because they're doing stuff in the community. I really
Shout out
like
to
this
them.
episode, and I
Me
appreciate
too.
you, Chaz, for I know
No
that
doubt.
we all got things going on in our life, but I appreciate you, Chaz, for just supporting my vision for Carefree Queer, and just when I say, hey, Chaz, let's do another episode. Like, Chaz is just, even though he has other things going on, I appreciate the fact that you make time for me and you make time for this podcast. So shout out to you
No
for being
doubt.
available and just being a great friend and being a great business partner. So with that being said, we close out every episode of Care for Queer with some words of wisdom or advice. And so I guess I'll start with my words of wisdom. My words of wisdom for episode 7, lucky number 7 for the Carefree Queer podcast
Hmm.
is, I'm trying to think, what are my words of wisdom? It's kind of hard. Let me think. A lot of stuff I could say. What is on my heart to tell you guys? I would say my words of wisdom for the 7th episode of Carefree Queer podcast is to trust your journey and don't compare your journey to anybody else's.
Yes. My words of wisdom today is to be selfless, but never, Never dismiss your truth. Never dismiss your worth. Be selfless, but never dismiss your worth.
I like that. I like that. That's good. That's good. Well, that is the end of Carefree Queer Podcast, episode 7. You can find me at Q Marcellis on Twitter, on Instagram. Well, I guess we're now calling Twitter X.
Twitter
So you can
X.
follow me on X.
On X.
And honestly, I prefer Twitter more than Threads. I'm
Yeah.
not. I've been. It's just kind of like if now that feels laborious.
Yeah.
It feels like there's too much to keep up with. So I honestly prefer Twitter more than Threads. So I'm just throwing it out there. But you can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook, Q Marcellus and then Quentin Marcellis. You can find my music on all streaming platforms. You can find my mixtape, my 2 mixtapes, Days in the Midwest and On a Journey, on SoundCloud and YouTube. Coming soon to some more websites. And yeah, make sure you look out for all the things I have coming up. You can get tickets for my show at the Performing Arts Theater on their website, tulsaperformingartstheater.com. And then what about you, Chaz? Where can people find you and your information that you got going on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everybody can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Chaz Warhol on Facebook, Chaz Warhol Music on Instagram, as well as Twitter, X, Chaz Warhol. I definitely prefer Twitter over Threads any day, but we don't, it doesn't really matter for me. But yes, all of my music under the same name, Chaz Warhol. You can find my music on all streaming platforms: YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, whatever you listen to, whatever the vibe, definitely get into it. And thank you later. And if not, you'll get into it later on in the future.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Carefree Queer Podcast. Unity and Brandelsa will be back on soon. We definitely miss them and their energy, so they will be back on
Yes,
soon. But
indeed.
thank you guys again for tuning in. You can check out this podcast
Thank
on
you. Thank you. Thank
Spotify. You
you.
can check out this podcast on YouTube, and we
YouTube.
will we will see you guys very soon. Peace.
Peace.